Hi, it's Will Swain from Marketing Results. I hope you're doing well. So I had a call the other day from a colleague who asked me to take a look at this landing page and give some ideas on conversion. And the issue as he described it was that we're getting a reasonable click-through rate from pay-per-click and banner ads. However, the conversion rate on this landing page is non-existent. And what would I suggest to improve things? So I'll give you a little bit of background on the service so you can understand the context of this, and then I'll give you my ideas on why I think this isn't working, and then we'll have a look at what I recommend that they try instead. And I think this video will probably contain a few generally applicable concepts and ideas that you can apply in more or less any sort of landing page. So let's get started. So the service that's being promoted here is aimed at cafe owners and restaurant owners. And Red Mako is actually a hospitality registered training organization. So they're specializing in that area. And what they're aiming to do is to target the owners of cafes and restaurants and propose that they actually train some of their staff or find them staff to be trained as chefs or cooks, and specifically in this Certificate 2 qualification. And the process that they've used is to have this landing page here. It actually starts with some banner ads like this. So losing control of your kitchen, the solution, take it back with 2 hats, the solution to the kitchen crisis, download the ebook. So people would click on that, and that part's working okay. And then they'd actually come and look at the landing page. And then the landing page has this sort of header with the headline, losing control of your kitchen, and then a call to action to download this ebook. So get the 2 hats ebook to find out how you can take back control of your business with a name and email. And when you actually sign up to that ebook, then you receive this document here, which explains a little bit more about 2 hats and what it is. It's basically about training not 1 but 2 individuals in a business in order to solve the what they're calling the kitchen crisis and have enough chefs to do the work required. And you may or may not be aware that there is a real shortage of chefs and cooks around in Australia at the moment, hence the relevance of this offer. So let's look at quick look at the ebook. Now, if I dig into the ebook, I find that the big benefit here is that the cafe or restaurant owner will receive cash benefits from the federal government of up to $10,500 per apprentice that they take on, and the apprentice themselves could receive up to $20,000 in trade support loans. So that's a pretty massive benefit, I would have thought. And the purpose, I guess, after they read this ebook or the desired action, is for the cafe or restaurant owner to then call Red Mako and say, look, I'm interested. Can we talk? How does this all work? And then they'll sell the service. So they've sort of gone for that two-step approach, selling or giving away the ebook first, and then nurturing, and then educating the prospect, and then getting them to request further information. So that's the background. Now let's look at why I think this isn't working. And before we do that, let's just look at one little slide from a well-known but dead copywriter by the name of Eugene Schwartz. And here's the slide I want to show you. So Schwartz had a concept called levels of awareness, and here are the 5 levels. At level 1, the prospect knows the product, knows what it does, and wants it. At level 2, the prospect knows the product but doesn't yet want it. At level 3, the prospect wants what the product does but doesn't know there is a product that will do it for him. At level 4, the prospect doesn't have a desire but a need. So that's like a problem-solving ad. At level 5, the prospect is completely unaware of the need or won't admit it to himself. So where is the prospect here? I think the prospect, and in talking with the owner of Red Mako, I think we've established that the prospect wants what the product does, but doesn't know there's a product that will do it for him. So what do they want? They want to have a trained workforce of chefs or cooks in order to power the business. There might also be some level 4 need here, so they're not quite aware that the whole root of their problem is caused by not having enough chefs. They do know that chefs are sort of hard to find, hard to keep, hard to retain, keep under control and all that sort of stuff. So they're probably somewhere in that 3 or 4 zone. And I think this landing page kind of comes almost at a level 1 or 2 level. So it kind of assumes that the prospect knows what Two Hats is, and that they're just gonna want it. And that, I think, is the fundamental disconnect here. So let's go back to the landing page and we'll talk about a couple of other issues here. So we start with what we call the above the fold space. We see there's an image here of someone obviously in some sort of anguish, and we see a text message interchange here between the chef and presumably the business owner, though we're not told that. Can't make it this morning. Your shift starts in 30 minutes and we're fully booked. We need you this morning. Had a big night. Sorry, can't do it. So that sort of interchange there, it does require quite a bit of deciphering by the viewer, and that's probably a bit of a problem. And then the headline is losing control of your kitchen. Take it back with Two Hats, the solution to the kitchen crisis. We still don't really know where this page is heading. So 3 good questions to ask about any web page or landing page are: where am I? What can I do here? And why can I do it? Why should I do it? So the prospect, even the ideal prospect who's a cafe owner that has a real problem with their chefs or retaining chefs or trained chefs, even the ideal prospect, if they come to this page, will potentially not be able to work out quickly what it's all about and what's being offered. And then they've got to read further to read this sort of problem copy. And I won't go into it all, but sort of talking about the problems that these cafe owners might be experiencing. And then it goes to the Two Hats ebook. Well, again, you sort of got that brand name, Two Hats, that the prospect is probably not familiar with yet. So there's no reason for them to download that ebook. And then you've got a bit of, limited to the first 200 signups, which I think is a bit of false scarcity there, which is, normally people aren't going to believe that, for good reasons. It's a digital download, and that'll sort of work against you. So I actually wonder whether you need to go with a 2-step approach. In other words, do the ebook first and then nurture and then go to an inquiry. I think as the next step, I would suggest going to a direct inquiry, because if the problem is pretty acute and the prospect already has the problem and they're looking for solutions, or they're open to solutions, then I think you can just get the initial inquiry straight up and you don't need to necessarily nurture with an ebook. Now that may or may not be borne out in practice. If it's not borne out in practice, then you could always go back to a 2-step and nurture from there. If you did go back to a 2-step, then the title for your ebook needs to be a direct problem-solving title. So how to ensure you always have enough chefs to run your cafe or restaurant, or something like that. So you're not really proposing the brand name, the solution, you're just proposing an answer to the problem. And that could be a reasonably effective title. Okay, so that's a bit of a diagnosis. Another point around this page is you get down sort of the bottom, and then eventually we talk about the benefits for your business of supporting the Two Hats campaign: increased productivity, improved quality of food, highly professional staff, low food wastage, reduced total cost of sale, and all that kind of jazz. And I think that's pretty important to the cafe or restaurant owner, and I think that should be much higher up the page. So how would we change this? Let's have a bit of a look at a very rough draft that I sort of did up. Here's one I prepared earlier, as they say. So how we change the page? First of all, we want to use this above the fold space really well, and we want to hit them in the eyes with the big benefit. So the pre-headline I've suggested here is: attention cafe and restaurant owners, are you frustrated because you can't find enough trained, reliable chefs to run your kitchen? Help is at hand. So it's certainly very direct. The cafe or restaurant owner is going to go, they're quickly going to either stick around on the page or go elsewhere if this isn't a problem they're facing. And then we hit them with the big benefit. Gain access to government cash incentives of up to $10,500 per apprentice. Now here I would put that little image of $10,500 for you and $20,000 per apprentice. And then above the fold certainly would put the contact form with 4 fields: first name, last name, email, phone, and an action button, a little privacy policy underneath. And that basically keeps all the info above the fold and gives enough information for the ideal prospect to potentially want to even fill in the form just based on this information alone. Then to have supporting information, you could have a headline like, is a lack of trained cooks undermining your business? And then go into these problem statements at the top. I've said here more emotion. The copy is pretty dry at the moment. If you're experiencing or are concerned about an inflexible workforce, low employee productivity, low professional standards, things like that, it's pretty dry. So get more emotion. Are you exasperated because you can't find trained chefs? Are you frustrated because bad behavior by poorly performing staff is something you're not able to deal with, etc., etc. So get those emotion words in there, and then we would replace this form here because the new form would replace it here, and then below that, more trained cooks for your business means, and then bring your benefits up higher, greater productivity, better food, a more motivated workforce, reduced cost of sale, more profit at the end of the day, and work out what the biggest benefit is for the target prospect, and put that one first, and then work backwards. You might also, under that sort of, remember the 3 questions were: where am I, what can I do here, and why should I do it? Why should I do it? That's really proof elements. So you might put a testimonial of one of the many people that this business has helped in the target market. And then at the bottom you might put why work with us, the red make a difference, and talk about some of those reasons to choose you, industry specialization, high completion rate, all that kind of stuff. And then yes, no problem at the bottom having a call to action that will of course lead back up to the form at the top. So those are a few things that I think could really work here. Certainly give this a try, and that'll give you some more data points. I think that'll get some leads flowing for sure. And then from there, it's really split testing and tweaking to increase volume. The only other thing is you want to make sure that the ads that you're using to drive here have the same kind of focus as this landing page. That so you avoid the curiosity-driven ad, which is essentially what you've got at the moment, and you hit them with problems and results. So problems the prospect has but doesn't want, or results the prospect wants but doesn't have. Thanks, I hope this is useful, and I hope that anyone watching this can use this to improve their landing pages, and let us know how you get on.